All right, welcome everyone. Today we're going deep on the Wu-Tang Clan's studio albums.
Yeah, their whole discography.
Controversies, the whole...
We've got the Wikipedia articles for each album up, so those will be easy to reference later.
You know, one thing that always struck me about Wu-Tang,
Yeah.
they were way more than just music.
For sure.
They had Wu-Wear, the clothing line,
Right.
movies like Ghost Dog, even their own video game.
True.
It built this whole brand. It's kind of crazy.
So, right from the start, they were thinking big picture, like entrepreneurs.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's rewind back to 93, their debut.
Enter the Wu-Tang 36 Chambers.
That album was a game changer, especially for East Coast hip-hop.
Totally different sound, super raw,
Gritty, yeah.
minimalistic production, but those beats were hard-hitting.
And lyrically, they were fearless.
No holding back.
Even the title, Enter the Wu-Tang 36 Chambers, it's like straight out of a kung fu movie.
Oh, huge kung fu influence, especially RZA, their main producer.
He's obsessed, right? Sampled those movies heavily, but it was more than just the sound.
It was the whole vibe, yeah.
Eastern mysticism mixed with hardcore street rap.
Nobody was doing that before.
Totally unique.
And the critics loved it.
The Source gave it 4.5 mics, then later bumped it to a perfect 5.
Classic rating, right?
And Pitchfork, years later, gave it a 10 out of 10.
Perfect score. That's wild.
It's consistently ranked as one of the greatest hip-hop albums ever.
And its influence, huge. I mean...
Think Nas, Biggie, Mobb Deep, Jay-Z.
Inspired by that Wu-Tang sound.
Absolutely.
So they put New York hip-hop back on the map in a major way.
No doubt.
Then 4 years later, Wu-Tang Forever.
A double album.
Ambitious.
RZA's production on that one, man.
Next level.
Strings, synths, all those layered samples.
He pioneered that technique of chopping up and speeding up soul samples.
Yeah, creates this really distinct high-pitched sound.
You can hear it on Triumph.
That's a great example.
Lyrically, Wu-Tang Forever is denser.
More complex, for sure.
Almost stream of consciousness sometimes.
Heavy 5% Nation influence, too.
Right, that black empowerment movement.
Yeah, definitely more philosophical.
Some amazing verses on that album.
Inspected Deck on Triumph.
Considered one of the greatest hip-hop verses ever.
And then Ghostface Killah on Impossible.
RZA himself called that the greatest Wu-Tang verse in his book, The Wu-Tang Manual.
High praise.
Wu-Tang Forever debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200.
Critical and commercial success.
Grammy nomination for Best Rap Album.
They proved they weren't a one-hit wonder.
Definitely not.
Then came the W in 2000.
That one felt different.
More commercial, some R&B influences creeping in.
Yeah, some fans weren't happy about that.
Felt like they were selling out.
Straying from their roots.
And there were rumors of internal conflicts within the group, too.
Plus, ODB was dealing with legal issues and wasn't really around for the recording.
Yeah, his absence was definitely felt.
But even with the controversy, the W went platinum.
Showed they could still evolve and find commercial success.
A group in transition, for sure.
Yeah, interesting time.
And then they seemed to course correct a bit with Iron Flag in 2001.
Back to a roar sound.
Like they were responding to the criticism of the W.
Trying to reclaim their hardcore edge.
But commercially, it didn't do as well.
They were at a crossroads.
And then comes 2007 and 8 Diagrams.
Oh, man, that was a whole other beast.
RZA really went experimental on the production.
More instrumentation, pushing the boundaries.
Like he was trying to make a hip-hop symphony.
Ambitious, for sure.
Divided the fan base, though.
Some loved it, some found it jarring.
Too far from their earlier work.
This is also the album where Capadonna officially joins the group.
Adds another layer to the mix.
Definitely.
You know, it's crazy to think RZA originally wanted 8 Diagrams to be their final album.
That would have been a very different legacy.
But the internal conflicts kept going.
Ghostface and Raekwon, especially, weren't happy.
Creative differences, business disagreements.
Lots of tension.
Definitely contributed to the mixed reception 8 Diagrams got. So you've got this legendary group, super talented, influential, but also dealing with all this internal stuff.
Figuring out their creative direction.
It's fascinating.
And it sets the stage for their next 2 albums, A Better Tomorrow and Once Upon a Time in Shaolin.
2 very different projects, each with their own controversies.
Absolutely.
We'll get into those next time.
Can't wait.
Okay, so picking up where we left off, 2014, A Better Tomorrow comes out.
Almost a decade after 8 Diagrams.
Yeah, it felt like they were trying to hit reset.
Get back to their roots, definitely.
Even the title kind of suggests that.
A fresh start.
But it wasn't easy getting there.
There were a lot of delays, creative clashes.
Raekwon didn't even want to be part of it at first.
Yeah, he was not happy with the direction RZA was taking things.
It was the main issue for him.
Creative control, basically.
RZA was calling all the shots.
Pretty much. And Raekwon felt like the Wu-Tang sound was being compromised.
He did eventually come back on board.
Yeah, but I wonder if those creative differences, if they lingered.
Impacted the final product.
It's hard to say for sure, but A Better Tomorrow definitely got mixed reviews.
Some critics said it felt a little forced, like they were trying too hard to recapture that old magic.
Like a band trying to make their first album again 20 years later.
Yeah, it never quite works out that way.
And then boom, a year later, Once Upon a Time in Shaolin drops.
What a curveball.
That was a whole other level of crazy.
One copy sold for $2 million.
To Martin Shkreli, of all people.
The guy who jacked up the price of those life-saving drugs.
Yeah, it was like they were intentionally trying to stir up controversy.
So what was the point of all that? Making just one copy?
They said it was a statement about the devaluation of music.
In the digital age, yeah.
They wanted to make music like fine art, something rare and valuable.
But it was also a brilliant marketing ploy, right?
Absolutely. They got everyone talking.
But it also alienated some fans, right?
Definitely. People felt excluded.
Like, here's this group that came from the streets.
Built a career on being accessible.
And now they're making an album that only one super rich guy can hear.
It was a bit of a contradiction.
It definitely raised some questions about, the purpose of art.
Who it's for, how we value it.
Big questions.
So we've covered the studio albums, the highs, the lows, the experiments, the controversies.
It's been a wild ride.
No doubt.
But their story doesn't end there.
Oh, no, not at all.
In 2017, they release The Saga Continues.
Produced entirely by Mathematics.
Longtime collaborator.
This one felt like a bridge between their earlier raw sound and their later more experimental stuff.
All the surviving members were on it, too.
Yeah, which was significant after all the internal tension and lineup changes.
It felt like a statement of unity.
Showing that the Wu-Tang spirit was still alive.
The Saga Continues didn't have the same impact as, say, 36 Chambers.
But it was a solid album.
Showed they were still a creative force.
And then, get this, in 2023, they get a Las Vegas residency.
First hip-hop group to do that, right?
Pretty wild, from Staten Island to the Vegas Strip.
It's a long way.
Shows how far they've come. Their impact goes way beyond music.
They're a cultural institution.
It's incredible, from a group of rappers to a global brand to a Vegas spectacle.
It makes you wonder what's next for them.
They always keep us guessing.
So, we've covered their rise, their impact, their business ventures, their evolution.
It's quite a story.
And hopefully now you have a better understanding of it all.
Yeah, you've got the basics down.
If you're ready to go deeper,
those Wikipedia articles are a good place to start.
There's a ton of info out there.
Interviews, documentaries, you name it.
And one last thought to leave you with.
Yeah?
Wu-Tang was known for letting their members have solo careers while staying in the group.
Right, very unique.
Do you think that helped or hurt them in the long run?
That's a great question.
It's something to think about as you explore their music further.
Their legacy is complex.
And that's what makes them so fascinating.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a real head-scratcher, right?
Yeah.
Like, did those solo careers help or hurt the group?
I can see both sides, for sure.
On the one hand, like, you think about Method Man's acting.
Yeah.
Or Ghostface Killah's unique style.
They brought more attention to Wu-Tang as a whole.
Right, exactly.
But then again, you could argue that all those solo projects pulled them in different directions,
Made it harder to stay focused as a group.
Less cohesive, maybe?
It definitely created some tension over the years.
Like, there were times they weren't even really functioning as a group.
Right. But they always seem to come back together eventually.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable when you think about it.
It shows the power of their shared vision.
Even when they were fighting, they still believed in Wu-Tang.
They knew what they had built was special.
So we've covered a lot of ground here.
Yeah, we have.
From Staten Island to global stardom.
Their impact on hip-hop is undeniable. And their business ventures, their evolution as artists.
It's a truly remarkable story.
And they did it all on their own terms.
No compromises.
They never played by the rules, always pushing boundaries.
That's the Wu-Tang way.
So there you have it, a crash course on the Wu-Tang Clan.
Hopefully this deep dive gave you a good overview.
A solid foundation for further exploration.
Definitely.
And if you want to go deeper,
those Wikipedia pages are a great starting point.
Tons of information there.
You can find interviews, articles, documentaries.
And of course, the music itself.
The most important part.
So go out there, explore the world of Wu-Tang.
And remember, this is just one perspective.
Yeah, there are many different ways to interpret their story.
Keep an open mind, form your own conclusions.
Find what resonates with you.
Exactly.
Well, that about wraps it up for this deep dive.
It's been fun.
Peace.